Evening, Hugh. Evening, everyone. Well, Oscar Wilde once wrote that the duty that we owe to history was to rewrite it. Well, Leicester better start scribbling pretty quickly, because they've got a lot to do if they're to buck the expectations and survive in the Premier League this season. It has been 20 years since a side with 17 points from their opening 26 games have managed to stay in the league, and even then it went down to the final day. West Bromwich Albion needed a degree of compliance from Portsmouth too. Leicester have sacked 2 coaches in the aftermath of an abysmal performance on Friday night. They've taken just 7 points from 13 games under Ruud van Nistelrooy. I wonder if a backroom tweak might be enough to turn the tide of history in their favour. It was 10 years ago that they mounted a great escape. This would be the greatest. West Ham's recent past has been a bit more like historical fiction, veering wildly between cherished and unwanted history. A first trophy since 1980, the best first half to a Premier League season, followed by a second half that saw them win just 5 of their 21 games, topped off by a managerial saga that saw them employ a boss who had the shortest tenure in West Ham United's existence, and they used to be famed for keeping managers for a long time. Graham Potter is here now, and he has just beaten Arsenal. Relegation fears are gone, and he's got 12 games to lay the foundations for the next chapter in West Ham United's history. Our referee tonight is Anthony Taylor. Our VAR is Rob Jones, and our assistants Con Hatzidikis and Mark Perry. Tomorrow night we have a double header, Aston Villa and Cardiff for the FA Cup 5th round on TalkSport. Sheffield Wednesday, Sunderland in the Championship, TalkSport 2. But tonight it is the final one of 10 live midweek Premier League commentaries. West Ham against Leicester, and it's live on TalkSport. Scott Minto's got history with West Ham, 5 Premier League seasons with the Hammers, and he's here tonight. Ruud van Nistelrooy and Leicester have got a mountain to climb, he said. Have they got the resources to do it?
Do you want the short answer? I would say no. And as I say, as we've been discussing, it's going to be really interesting to see just who starts well, who gets that first goal. If West Ham do get that first goal, there could be another capitulation here. But if Leicester were to get it, it could be interesting.
Leicester in black, attacking the goal away to our left. And the Bobby Moore stand away to our left. And West Ham in claret with blue sleeves and white shorts, white socks, defending that goal and shooting towards the Sir Trevor Brooking stand away to our right in the first half. The ball has gone behind for the first corner of the game. Buonanotte has won it. Vestergaard has already trotted up from the back. And the first set piece in the first few seconds of the game goes by way of the visitors. If they are climbing a mountain, it looks like they're climbing Everest without a Sherpa, Leicester City. Here is the corner on the far side, left-footed, arc towards the back edge of the penalty area, headed in by Vestergaard, who was under pressure. West Ham managed to scramble it away. It's picked up by Christensen on the near touchline, looks to try and take on James Ward-Prowse, who blocks him and shows his athleticism to really harry Christensen. Deco-Dover-Reid retrieves it, plays it down the left, and then hits it against Alvarez. It bounces out for a throw-in down by the corner flag, wide away to our left-hand side. West Ham got a good result the weekend, but they have lost their last 2 here to Crystal Palace and Brentford. Leicester City have won their last 3 Premier League games against West Ham United, but they haven't won 4 in a row against the Hammers since 1966. More history. Here's Ndidi from the throw-in, striking from distance. It's low but not hard enough to test Areola, and he drops to his right and gets another little gift on his 32nd birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. A nice little easy shot to save, but it's been a positive start from Leicester. Been only a couple of minutes in, but the ball has been played in West Ham's half, so that's something which Ruud van Nistelrooy would be happy with. Problem is there's 88 minutes more to go.
Still quite a few empty white seats inside the London Stadium. A few people sort of filing in from this side of the ground. Not as many coming in on the other side. It'll be interesting to see whether it fills up or not here. For this Thursday night game at the London Stadium. Here is Kudus as the long ball is played forward towards him. He takes it elegantly out of the sky and then retreats backwards to the left side of the centre circle. Into Kudus again, uses his low centre of gravity to brush off Ndidi, who's physical and strong and it's long-limbed. Kudus works it out wide, then it goes back out into the path of Alvarez, then to Kudus again, and then on to Cresswell, who bounds forward, pushes it back into Kudus, who's ball into the box, is flicked into the air by Ndidi, and then defended by Justin, but not a great header, and immediately it's West Ham who look for the second ball, win it over on the far side, and Kudus, who looks in the mood tonight with a couple of little tricks and flicks, gets them back into possession and back on the front foot. Bowen with a little back heel into Souček, then it's into the midfield, and Alvarez doesn't use his ball quick enough, and then again it's not cleared by Leicester City. It bounces off Buonanotte and it goes out on the far side. It's away for a West Ham United throw. Well, that Leicester good start lasted for about a minute and a half, and now West Ham are on the front foot.
That's why I did say 88 to go. Look, West Ham are at home. They can't be having the Leicester, as poor as they've been recently, where they are in the league, coming to the London Stadium and bossing the game. So it's absolutely down to West Ham to get hold of the ball and try and attack. And you're right, Mohamed Kudus, he looks up for it tonight, doesn't he?
He really does. Ball over on the far side, taken back by Scholes into Cresswell, who's played well as the third left centre half. Ball chipped out to Wan-Bissaka, who's had a really good period with West Ham United. He cuts infield now, then turns away from Christensen, just feeds it onto Kudus, who's popped up on the right side now. He's got so much freedom in this role where he plays alongside Bowen in the two. And gets it back into the midfield where Todibo has stepped out from defence. Graham Potter lurking on the edge of the technical area, just trying to direct traffic as the ball goes wide to Ollie Scholes. Scholes, who's only 19 years of age, graduated from the West Ham Academy, played against Aston Villa in Potter's first game in charge, and has largely played very well whenever he's been called upon. Played very well at the Emirates Stadium last weekend. Didn't faze him making his first Premier League start in such surroundings. This is Todibo on halfway for West Ham. It's 0-0 after 4.5 minutes on TalkSport. West Ham boss Graham Potter, who was twice linked actually with the Leicester City job, but signed a 2.5-year contract here in January. It's not been plain sailing, but that win over Arsenal, effectively killing off their title hopes, has given him some breathing room. Here is Wan-Bissaka looking to take on Christensen, who comes across in the left full-back position, nudges it out of play, down by the corner flag. It goes out for a West Ham throw.
Yeah, look, I don't want to be derogatory about Leicester, but quite clearly Graham Potter offered the job, we believe, not just once but twice, and he wanted to wait, and now he's got a very good job.
Ball in towards Bowen inside the penalty area. It's poor from Christensen, and Souček was coming around the back of him. The left full-back just switched off. He sort of tried to dip down to head the ball, but it was too low, and he completely befuddled himself there. The ball then just sort of bounced into the arms of Hermansson, but Souček was lurking, coming around the back and putting him under real pressure.
Yeah, it's a horrible ball to deal with as a full-back, because you're not quite sure. You can't, it's going to bounce, able to volley it away or head it away, and it was just in that in-between. So one thing they don't want to do is make mistakes, because no doubt about it, this Leicester side are fragile.
Well, Ruud van Nistelrooy's first game in charge of Leicester was their 3-1 win over West Ham on December the 3rd. Leicester won that despite West Ham having 31 attempts during the game, the highest on record that they've ever managed in a Premier League match. Jamie Vardy opened the scoring inside 99 seconds before Bilal El Khanous and Patson Daka then ended up extending their lead. Nicholas Füllkrug got the West Ham consolation at the end, but West Ham probably deserved more than that.
Well, definitely. The most attempts on goal in the Premier League era. I mean, even when Leicester do win under Ruud van Nistelrooy, there's not much positives you can take from it.
That must be said, that was, I suppose, during the era that they've been counting the statistics. I don't think they've been counting them back since 1992-93, so you probably were in a team that conjured more efforts than that.
I reckon Paolo Di Canio did that in one game.
Here is James Ward-Prowse across to Kilman out towards the far side, fired up towards Kudus by Cresswell. It's a good ball as well. Then it goes out to Scholes again. West Ham dominating the ball and basically camped inside the Leicester half at the moment. Goes back towards the halfway line, and then it's a little run into the middle by Cresswell. He's enjoying a lot of touches in the early stages of this game. 7 gone, 0-0. We're at the London Stadium. Scholes tries to play it square to Kudus. It's cut out by Buonanotte. Goes back out to Scholes, far side the left. He's hugging the touchline. Goes further on as he gives it back to Cresswell. Then looks for the return. He's in space on the far side, ready to cross the ball. He does that, but it hits the first man, Justin. Goes out for a throw. And it's back in the arms of the youngster again, and West Ham continue their attack.
Yeah, this game's about patience for West Ham and the fans. They've got to realise that Leicester will try and make it hard. And you can see how they're defending Leicester without the ball. They're playing almost in line of the 18-yard box and allowing the wing-backs out wide. Then if they do get the ball, then someone can engage. But they don't want any balls to go through the middle. You can see exactly what they're trying to do. And West Ham, as I say, just have to be patient. Keep moving the ball, keep probing. Once they get that first goal, well, we saw what happened on Friday night.
Yeah, that will be the plan. Graham Potter's actually really tactically flexible, isn't he? He'll adapt depending on who his team are playing. Largely he wants to control the game through possession, which they're doing at the moment. An emphasis on sort of intricate passing, trying to build from the back. He encourages players to be versatile and move fluidly, creating overloads and exploits spaces. The wing-back's really important in this system, and Wan-Bissaka and Scholes showed that at the weekend, and they're showing it today. They're almost the furthest forward at times in this system.
Yeah, the wing-backs are very important when you do play this position. I've got to just mention Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Even when he was playing for Manchester United, I didn't think he's as bad as people were saying going forward, and defensively I think he's one of, if not the best defender in a one-on-one situation. But what has surprised me is how good he is going forward. I think he's been absolutely excellent since he's been wearing the West Ham shirt, and this wing-back role suits him because he's able to do it athletically. We'll have to wait and see. Going back to Graham Potter, you're totally right. It's all about being adaptable, all about seeing, look, this is not my way of playing. I'm going to see what group of players I've got, what's best for them against the team that we're up against, and that's what we saw last week.
West Ham had a throw-in on the near side, but they sort of messed it up really, and it ended up cannoning off Souček and going out for a Leicester throw just in the left full-back position. I mean, I don't know what you think of that Leicester City kit, but it's unique, isn't it?
Unique in a good way or a bad way?
It's awful. I mean, it's black, it's got salmon pink trim, but it's got sort of like, I don't know if it's like a flame pattern that comes from underneath it, or I don't know. Looks like someone had a dodgy kebab. And here is Scholes up towards the halfway line, falling into Kudus. Kudus tries to take it into midfield, plays it out towards the right hand side, and Todibo takes it on now here's Wan-Bissaka.
Sorry, I was just talking to Hugh there. He's making some movements, and I said, what's that? He said, it looks like they've been sick on the shirt.
Vardy trying to close down Kilman, goes back towards Cresswell, and West Ham survived that little bit of pressure from Jamie Vardy and his team. Picked up by Todibo, crossfield ball headed away by Samare, bounces down into the path of Decordova-Reid, and then Bowen on the hunt. He's such a pest, isn't he, just hunting down those central defenders. They emergency kick clear, and it goes all the way back to Areola.
Yeah, I did a Q&A with Jared Bowen and Carlos Soler just about 10 days ago for West Ham, and what a great guy Jared Bowen. You can see it, brilliant in the dressing room. You can just tell straight away. And we're talking about how it took him time to get into the Premier League and someone to have faith in him despite him scoring goals for a club that wasn't always chasing a playoff place, and yet he never gave up. And he said, you know what, where I've come from the very lower divisions, he said that in itself I thought I'd struck the lottery. But what he's doing right now I think is nothing short of sensational. He's their best player, he's their captain, he's an England international, and with him and Kudus this might just suit him. But still like to see Evan Ferguson playing as well.
Just going to pick that name that you dropped up there. Yeah, put it on the side. Ball played out by Cresswell, out over on the far side.
I told him I knew you, and he said he did the same thing.
The ball thrown in from the right full-back position by Justin. It's out off Ollie Scholes, and once again left for Justin to take the throw midway inside the Leicester half. No one's really created anything so far in the game. We played 11 minutes and 30 seconds. West Ham have had a lot of possession of the football. They've had good possession of the football as well. They've looked in control of the game up until this point, but it is still 0-0. To say they're in control of the game is an understatement. They've had 87% possession so far. But here is Buonanotte from the throw-in on the right-hand side, trying to tangle his way through a knot of claret shirts, but across comes the combination of Souček and Ward-Prowse, and they edge the ball back to Todibo, and West Ham have it back again.
I think if you take out those first 2 minutes of the game, it must be high 90s.
Yeah. And it's been exclusively in the possession of West Ham United, and they'll be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, Leicester will be happy with this. It's down to West Ham to try and break them down. It's not down to, in terms of possession stats, it's like, okay, we're here, we're at West Ham, we want to make ourselves as compact as possible.
You heard a roar there because the ball went up towards Bowen, who collided with Vestergaard and then went down. He thought he had actually been fouled, and he was claiming that he could have had a penalty. He did get a whack on the back of the head, but referee Anthony Taylor said, play on. Here is Wout Faes into Ndidi. Just over the halfway line is Samare, then further out to the wide left and Christensen back into Samare, who's just over the halfway line, 6 yards inside West Ham territory. Up it goes into the body of El Khanous, who's been one of the brightest sparks actually in the Leicester City team this season. He does look like a good acquisition. Where he fits into the team, I think, has been a bit of an issue. They seem to have recruited both him and Buonanotte. I'm not necessarily sure they always fit in the same system. Here is Christensen working it out wide to Decord-Over-Reed, who's playing largely on this left-hand side. He's been snaffled up by Wan-Bissaka and then forced back into his own half, and it's excellent defending by Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
The two of them can play together if they're both players number 10s and you play with 3 at the back.
Well, we were talking about that, weren't we? Something that we were a little bit surprised after saying yesterday in the press conference. Yeah, it's a good time to change things up, as Van Nistelrooy did yesterday. To then not change anything up really in terms of system and not go for something different is a bit of a surprise really, as El Khanous gets whacked by Kilman, who both go for the ball on the halfway line, just colliding. There's a little bit of a discussion between Ruud van Nistelrooy and his staff. Andy King part of the staff now. They did sack 2 coaches this week, or end the employment of 2 coaches, Danny Alcott and Ben Dawson, who had worked under Steve Cooper. They decided that they would slim down the coaching staff. I don't know if that's to do with sort of making the message a little bit more focused and making sure there wasn't too many voices in the room. They had carried that extra number of staff from the Steve Cooper reign. Ruud van Nistelrooy going in a different direction. You listen to West Ham 0, Leicester 0 on TalkSport with Sky Sports. And don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now. Search Now Sports. Ball over, far touchline. West Ham in possession because Scholes has tried to win it from Buonanotte. The free kick is given against Buonanotte. And it's going to be a West Ham United ball on the halfway line. It's 15 minutes into the game. It's 0-0.
Yeah, and West Ham is down to 75% ball possession, but they haven't had a shot on or off target. And Leicester have had 1 off target. They just need to try and get a little bit more into the final third. I talked about being patient, but you still need to play with intensity, keep moving the ball quickly, and at the moment it's too slow.
Here is Scholes, far side, just nudging it back into the halfway line. It's given to James Ward-Prowse. He then guides it back to Kilman, and then it's across to Cresswell once again. Alvarez plays it square to Todibo. Well, those white seats have been filled now, but it hasn't been too inspiring for them to get out of them again. But here's Todibo trying to get round the back of the defence, gets into the penalty area, thinks he's won a corner, he hasn't. It goes out and away for a goal kick. Again, Christensen just getting a little bit caught there down that left-hand side. He was backpedaling, got into the box, didn't really sort of deal with the ball. He was trying to shepherd it out of play, wasn't strong enough to hold off Todibo.
No, he wasn't. And if you're going to do that, you make sure you are, because that was in a really dangerous position, and because the ball was spinning and it span out, he got away with that one for sure. But I think Ruud van Nistelrooy would be happy so far. Not really having the ball, but they look compact. Say about West Ham, not had a shot on or off target as yet.
It reminds me very much of a Ruud van Nistelrooy Leicester team defending deep against Manchester United and Arsenal, looking for the odd ball to raid. Pressed a bit better in the second half against Arsenal, but largely set off both teams and waited for mistakes, which they got at United. They had a great chance in that Arsenal game they didn't take just before Mourinho came up with his rescue act. This is a team that have had the fewest shots in the league, but here is Vardy into the penalty area, trying to cross the ball towards Decord-Over-Reed. It's cut out by Cresswell and now picked up by James Ward-Prowse, and West Ham being encouraged to move the ball quickly. Bowen pops it back into Wan-Bissaka, who's got a lot of green grass to run into. He gallops forward over halfway. Samare belatedly comes to meet him. He goes back infield and then plays it round the corner to Bowen. Bowen back to Wan-Bissaka and then Souček. Quick one-touch football from West Ham. That's what they've got to do. Switched by Ward-Prowse out to the far side. Cresswell's got to move it quicker down to Scholes. Alvarez has gone on a run down the left inside channel, but the ball's not going to reach him because Scholes has given it away, and now he's got to come back and try and rob it back off Buonanotte, which he did really well.
Yeah, he did. Just a minute or so earlier, Jamie Vardy got the wrong side of Max Kilman, and whatever you say about a 38-year-old guy in there relying on that, he doesn't play like he's a 38-year-old, and he can be an absolute pest, and you give him a chance and he will stick the ball in the back of the net, so just got to be careful. Again, talk about patience, move the ball quickly, but don't lose concentration when you're at the back, and be very, very careful at all times for Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, nearly 500 appearances for Leicester City, Jamie Vardy. It's damn impressive, heading towards 200 goals as well. His next goal will be his 199th for Leicester. Here is Cresswell into Ward-Prowse. Ward-Prowse out to Todibo. Todibo onto Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka sends the ball down the right side, beats Decordova-Reid with ease. Christensen doesn't go across. It's a cross into the area by Wan-Bissaka, which is fended away by Ndidi, who got back and helped out. That was too easy for Wan-Bissaka. He just put on the accelerator, went beyond Decordova-Reid, and Christensen was never getting there.
No, but he didn't even read it, the left back. You know, he's trying to take him on, and he got past Decordova-Reid, and he's protecting you. So at least make sure that if that ball was played down the line as it was, 10 or so yards, and then he chased after it, you get there. He was allowed to put the cross in, but to be fair, it allowed Leicester to get numbers in the box and just defend pretty easily. At the moment, yeah, it's all West Ham in terms of possession, but not really looking dangerous, are they, in terms of scoring?
Not yet. Here is El Khanous. He might be a bit of a danger getting into the penalty area. Todibo comes across, nicks it, plays it against him, and it just goes straight out of play and away for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. You're listening to Talk Sport. We're live at the London Stadium in East London, Stratford's Olympic Park. We played 19 minutes of this game. We've got more games for you tomorrow. Aston Villa against Cardiff is live on Talk Sport, and later on tonight, Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy taking your calls on the Sports Bar this evening. And right now, over on Talk Sport 2, we've got the Premier League darts live from Exeter. Here is Jared Bowen, back into Ward-Prowse, out wide towards the right. Wan-Bissaka takes it on, into Bowen once again. Back to Wan-Bissaka, flicked over the top. It's on towards Bowen, who's taken it well beyond Samare into the penalty area. Christensen comes across, just about deals with it this time. Bowen wins it back again, plays it into Soucek, rolls the defender, plays it into the centre, looking for Alvarez. It's just about cleared by a combination of Vestergaard, but it comes back to Cresswell. Right-footed shot, Goodness is there, great save. Back to Soucek, it's in. And it's another calamity at the back by Leicester City, who are appealing for offside. Soucek is celebrating. West Ham United think they've scored the opening goal. But they all had to go there. Alvarez had an opportunity, Kudus had a chance, and then finally it was stuck in by Soucek.
Well, I'm pretty sure that VAR will at least have a look at that. The referee's assistant didn't look 100% sure. He believed that each time in each patches of play, West Ham were onside. As Jared Bowen gets the ball, he's definitely onside. There's actually decent defending from Christensen, but Bowen, as ever, never gives up. Great turn from Soucek. Leicester get defenders in the box and not quite able to get rid of it. Cresswell has the shot, and there's no doubt about it. Vestergaard just drops off, which then keeps him, Kudus, onside.
No problems with that at all. Completely onside, dreadful defending. I mean, how on earth that ball gets in between Fass and Justin, I'll never know. They're standing on the edge of the area. It's whipped in by Cresswell. It goes between the two of them. It's like threading the ball through the eye of a needle. He's managed to do it. And you could say that that's brilliant from him, but it wasn't hit with any sort of ferocity. I mean, it's poor.
Absolutely, and look, let's give credit to the referee's assistant, because it could easily have been, it looked like
great decision,
really good decision. You know, everyone's happy to jump on the officials when they make bad decisions. That was a good one. Obviously VAR would have sorted it out either way, but spot on he was, because it looked like a couple of times West Ham could have been offside. They weren't. It's just, you're right, it's another poor goal to concede, isn't it?
Well, Thomas Soucek, 6 goals now for the season. He's the driving force behind this West Ham United team. He got 10 goals last season, which was his joint best scoring season for West Ham United. He may get up to that sort of level again. 22 gone. West Ham 1, Leicester 0, live on Talk Sport. And yeah, absolutely right. Great spot from Kon Hatzidakis on this near side, the assistant referee. Here is Decordova-Reid as they look to try and respond here, Leicester City. He tries to funnel the ball into the box. It's cleared away by Soucek and up towards the halfway line. And Leicester have conceded the first goal in a game for the 22nd time this season. They've come back from deficits to win matches at Southampton and Tottenham, but those are rare blots on an otherwise rather unseemly copybook.
Yeah, and I go back to Friday when I was sitting with Hugh, and they actually started the game really well, and for more than 2 minutes. The moment they conceded that first goal, they really did capitulate. So interesting to see whether West Ham try and go for it or whether they just sit back and stay in control. I would certainly go for that second.
Well, West Ham are 16th, second worst of those who will be in the Premier League next season. There's a lot of work to do behind the scenes to get them ready to compete again next campaign. Their form this season is such a drop-off from what went before. Pushing for the European places, winning the Conference League. They haven't won back-to-back Premier League games for a year, but they will expect to tonight. Here's Wan-Bissaka, on to Kudus, down the right side of the area, looking to try and find a way through. He goes back towards the midpoint of the Leicester City half, to Debo, across to Ward-Prowse, Souček, then into Kilman from distance can play the ball out towards the left, and Skulls now approaching the edge of the penalty area. 24 gone. This is Talk Sport. Back in towards the near side. There's a sign that's doing the rounds on the digital advertising boards. It said Sam Fender, people watching. Well, Leicester are people watching at this moment in time because they can't get anywhere near the ball.
Well, there were people watching for the goal as well. I mean, it wasn't as if Hermansen made the save and then it was put in straight away by Souček.
Bowen out to the far touchline. Skulls with a cross into the box, which takes a deflection. It'll go out for a corner.
He had the shot, Cresswell. So one, no one actually stopped the shot. Secondly, Kudus was the one first to react to it off the save. And then the Souček there as well. They're just standing there, people watching. That's exactly what it is.
There's another track off that album called Arm's Length. And at the moment, West Ham very much keeping them at arm's length.
Just saw a picture of Ruud van Nistelrooy, and he was looking down as if like, oh my goodness, what am I doing here?
Here's the corner over on the far side, looking to try and get a cross in towards the near post. Oh, brilliant delivery by Ward-Prowse, as you would expect, right under the goalkeeper, pushed away by Hermansen. Back in by Wan-Bissaka towards the far post. The header by Kilman is just going to loop over. Does go out of play from that header, despite Kudus' best efforts, and it's out for a goal kick away to our right-hand side. Have you checked that album out, by the way, Sam Fender's new album?
I haven't.
Only came out last week. It's very good. Did like it.
There's you, right at the front of the queue.
I was there. I'd pre-ordered it, to be fair.
That doesn't surprise me.
I got it on cassette.
Cassette?
Cassette, yes, a limited edition cassette. I also got it on vinyl, but I definitely got it on cassette. I hadn't played a cassette for a long time. It was good fun. Novelty wore off after he had to rewind it 3 times.
Vinyl's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I like my vinyl. Not ever been described as cool though, Scott.
Well, yeah. I didn't say you were cool.
I was going to say, we are wearing the same jacket today.
I wondered how long it would come before someone said something. Producer Izzy was looking at you and looking at the jacket. And when are you going to mention it?
And the same jumper. Looked like we walked out the same house. Here is...
we really must text each other beforehand.
Here is Tadibo. If you'd like to see our matching outfits, it is available on Instagram.
Don't waste your time.
Don't say OnlyFans. That's ridiculous. If you're going to say it in the earshot of the microphone, don't expect me not to repeat it. That's the producer, by the way, who's supposed to maintain the standards. The standard of this game hasn't been great so far. Hence why we've converged into a different conversation. But West Ham have just given away a free kick on halfway, and Buonanotte is going to take it. Listen to the atmosphere around the London Stadium. Even though they're winning, there's not much noise, is there? There's 60,000 people supposed to be in here.
Yeah, but it's one of those where they're almost gone to see a show at the theatre and they're sitting back. They know what's going to happen. They know how it ends. And we're on our way to doing that. It's down to Leicester to try and see if they can do something, at least get a shot on target.
Ball headed down into the 18-yard box. It's cleared away by Cresswell. And it's out over on the far side and away for a throw-in to Leicester City. This is Talk Sport, 28 minutes gone.
It would be really important, though. Sorry, Sam, for Graham Potter. to get those back-to-back wins. You talked about, I mean, he's only just taken over, but it's almost a year since West Ham have done that in the league. You know, doesn't mean that that's his system. He is very adaptable. I think it'd be very important for him to... He's gauging people all the time. He's looking at the systems. One of the first things he did was bring James Ward-Prowse back.
Yeah.
You know, and then has also brought Evan Ferguson in. He's put Ollie Scholes in. He's given none of the youth teams a chance as well. Lewis Orford, an FA Youth Cup winner. You know, he's doing everything that West Ham fans want to see, and they understand. You know, it's almost a bit of a throwaway season, but I genuinely see good times for West Ham under Graham Potter. I think he's a very intelligent coach.
The opposite's definitely true of Leicester City. I just watched another replay of that goal. What on earth are Vestergaard and Christensen doing when the ball comes in and Hermansen makes the save? They don't react at all.
There's just no sort of what if. What if? You taught that when you're in the youth team. Think worst case scenario. What if he gets his shot in and as a save and he parries out? What if? Are you reacting to it? And they're just standing still and looking and watching.
Well, you would have thought after last night, the ball goes up to Bowen and he gets pushed in the back and he wins a free kick on the right-hand side. You would have thought after last night the Wolves result might inspire Leicester City. They have the chance to close the gap to 2 points if they win here tonight. The thing is that they've been so bad, there's very little confidence that they can do that. I think even amongst the group that have been sent out this evening, certainly amongst those travelling fans who are just sort of, I think, just enjoying the hospitality that the West Ham Stadium has to offer. Free kick then to be taken on this near side by James Ward-Prowse. He's got the ball in his hand, he's going to place it down. It's a good sort of 17-18 yards inside Leicester territory. It's quite a high line, 6 yards outside the box by Leicester, and the West Ham players looking to attack it. He'll hit this right-footed into the box. Someone attacking it is Souček. Comes off the head of Christensen and half clear towards the far side. It's picked up by Justin. Looks to run it clear. He's being harassed by Alvarez. Gets it back into midfield, and then indeed he doesn't really know where to go with it because West Ham are pressing high up from the front, and they do well enough to put them under pressure. Buonanotte eventually draws the foul because Cresswell went for a piggyback, and Anthony Taylor gives him the free kick just short of the halfway line.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? You know, you look at Aaron Cresswell and you're kind of thinking not that long ago, well, is that him done now at West Ham? He's been a great servant to the club, still got a brilliant left foot, but no, he's been brought into this system under Graham Potter. And you know, when you think of last week, there's Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Scholes, Cresswell, Bowen, Kilman, James Ward-Prowse. There's kind of a Brits feel to it, isn't it? And I think that's what they do. You don't have to be sort of British, but you need that mentality. That's what West Ham perhaps gone away from the last season or two.
Bowen, brilliant, just causing problems for Samaria. Sort of dawdled on the ball and he came from the blind side, tried to pinch it, almost managed to race away with it. Leicester have got it back to Vestergaard on halfway. Currently West Ham 1, Leicester 0. The latest odds available at Ladbrokes, where right now you can get West Ham to win at 4-1 on, the Leicester victory 11-1, the draw 4-1. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes 18+. BigGambleAware.org. This is Talk Sport on this Thursday night. What a week we've had for you in the Premier League, and we will continue to bring you loads of commentaries over the weekend from the FA Cup. We've got Crystal Palace Millwall on Saturday, Leeds West Brom from the Championship on TalkSport 2. We'll take you round the grounds with Adrian, bring you Bournemouth Wolves on TalkSport 2, Manchester City Plymouth, Newcastle Brighton, Manchester United against Fulham, and on Monday night Nottingham Forest against Ipswich. Here is Kudus on the left hand side, guiding the ball back into the path of James Ward-Prowse. They're on the left angle of the penalty area. They get up to the penalty area really well, West Ham, and then they just wait for the perfect ball into the box, seemingly. Hasn't come so far. That certainly wasn't it. It was played down the left channel and immediately mopped up by Ndidi. And it's back to Justin, who kicks it clear. The header won by Vardy, but it's a West Ham body that gets there first. I just wonder, when they do get full, because they're playing the three at the back system, and they've got a defensive midfield player in Alvarez, that maybe they just lack the numbers when they get to the edge of the box.
Yeah, but if you've got the wing backs pushing on, and you've got the likes of Thomas Souček, who likes to get in the box, and James Ward-Prowse kind of sits as well, but Bowen and Kudus, there should be enough there to, in terms of numbers, to get forward. And if those wing backs are wide, then, you know, let's have a decision to make. They've actually letting them go wide, and if the ball, and it's the right decision to let the ball come out, and when it does come out, then they'll get a little bit tighter to try and stop the cross. But the moment they start to split a bit more, and the pitch is made big by West Ham, that's when the spaces are down the middle. And Kudus and Bowen, we haven't seen too much of them at the moment, but just takes one moment, especially for Jared Bowen. He's always on the move, he's always looking to try and do something.
Carlisle lead Barrow by 1-0 in League Two tonight. Here it's West Ham 1, Leicester City 0. I just thought there when Hermansen kicked the ball clear, I'm not saying for one moment that he has almost given up on the game, but the way he kicked the ball, it wasn't as if he was trying to just get it long and out of the way. It was just deal with it, just get it straight out of play. And it felt just a little bit casual, really, rather than, the attitude of someone that really needs to get the team back on the front foot. I might be being overcritical here, but that's the way it appeared, with the way his body went up to the ball and then just thrust it straight out of play.
No, look, it's 1-0, and Leicester have been poor going forward after the initial couple of minutes, but they're still very much in the game, and body language is so important to try and set that tone, and that's what you want from your goalkeeper. But when it's almost game after game and you're getting defeat after defeat, sometimes it's quite hard to do that, but that's what you pay to do. You've got to be able to deal with that.
West Ham have won it back in midfield, and Bowen has turned the ball over. He's played it forward down the right-hand side. Kudus is into the penalty area. Souček is lurking. Kudus slips on his backside, but he's got the time to get back up again because no one's going to engage with him. He's got two players around him. He gets away from them all, plays it back to Wan-Bissaka. He gets to the edge of the penalty area, plays it square into Ward-Prowse, who looks for Bowen. Christensen gets across and intervenes this time, stops them from getting out, and then, West Ham put enough pressure on to win the ball back halfway inside Leicester City territory. Down the right-hand side, it's Kudus again on the half-turn. He's got Souček and Bowen alongside him. Bowen into the box through the legs of the defender. Souček now, down the right side, lifts it into the box, or low cross into the box, which ends up being dealt with by Fass. And Leicester had enough bodies back there centrally to try and outwit the numbers that West Ham had put forward into the box, which were outnumbered at that moment in time. It remains 1-0 to West Ham.
Yeah, for a lot of the game, it's almost playing in a third of the pitch. And it's very difficult because to play those little intricate passes, little 1-2s, there's so many numbers in the Leicester box. They've tried a couple of times, West Ham. James Ward-Prowse, that little first-time pass into Jared Bowen, who's inside the box, but because they have got a lot of numbers and they're able to defend it. Look, Leicester have been poor so far, but no, they are poor. They're down there. They're heading towards relegation. So what I would say is they've got to hang on in there. And 1-0 even getting to half-time is not the worst scoreline in the world. Just takes one mistake, one bit of lack of concentration from West Ham, or one bit of brilliance, a set piece, and they're right back in the game. So West Ham need that second goal for sure, and you definitely don't see this Leicester side coming back then.
You're listening to West Ham 1, Leicester 0 live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent a Car. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs. I don't think we were expecting a goal fest tonight, Scott, I've got to be honest with you. No Premier League team has scored fewer goals than Leicester since Van Nistelrooy's first game in charge, and they hardly ever score in the first half of matches. West Ham have only scored more than once in one of the last 11 games.
Yeah, but I was expecting a goal fest last night at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and I didn't get it, so we might get it tonight. You never know what can happen.
I was as well, actually. I was a little bit surprised there was only one goal. There should have been two, really.
Yes, there should have been.
Here is Souček down the left-hand side. In fact, there should have been more than that in the first half. Savinio's miss in particular is still a little bit hard to explain. Here is Bowen trying to run in behind as the ball is played forward. It's up towards Vardy, back out towards the right-hand side again. It's kicked clear over the top of the halfway line. Decordova-Reid is trying to chase it. It drops in the middle of the West Ham half, and Debo will tidy up for West Ham and then get it back to Wan-Bissaka. Do you know what? I've got to say, West Ham United, for a team that are 16th in the Premier League, they should go 15th tonight with a victory here. Don't score very many goals, don't win very many games. They look in complete control of this football match.
Yeah, and I also think that tells you a lot about Leicester and where they are right now. I think basically we've got a not very good side against a side playing in second gear. And it might kick them up the backside if Leicester do get the equaliser, but they certainly won't want that to happen, and they won't. The mood will change. It's very quiet, isn't it? I know West Ham fans so passionate, but they're watching this and nothing's happening.
Well, that's because nothing has to happen, really. They don't have to force it, because I think they think to themselves they will get another chance.
Well, I go back to the fact that they're playing in second gear, and I think the fans understand that.
Here is Wan-Bissaka, all the way back to halfway. Gives it to Kilman. Kilman across to Souček. Souček looks up, plays it back into Wan-Bissaka. Created the goal that won them the game at the weekend. Was excellent going forward against Arsenal. Only cost £15 million from Manchester United. That is a bargain, especially bearing in mind the season that he's had. It's a bit of a worry, really, for Manchester United, to see so many of their players that they discarded go off and actually be relative successes elsewhere. I wonder if that's just a lot of the pressure that comes with playing with a United shirt on.
100%.
Here is Wan-Bissaka onto Ward-Prowse. Lovely control inside the area. Gets it back to Bowen. Bowen shifts it onto his left foot, draws it down towards the goalkeeper's left. Didn't really see where it was going there, Hermansen, but he was lucky enough to see it pop past the outside of the post rather than the inside of it. It was a very good move from West Ham United, and Bowen and Ward-Prowse involved. Those two seem to have reformed a connection very quickly.
Yeah, and good play from James Ward-Prowse. He's the one who ran into the box. Lovely little dink over defender from Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and that's what you need. Although it's not his natural game, he's more of a sitter, a passer, and more than just a player with set pieces. He's a very good sort of holding midfielder that can dictate play. But there he went straight into the box, cut the ball back, and Jared Bowen, he's gone to cut on the inside on his left foot, but then go on the near post and wrong foot the goalkeeper. In the end, it was just the wrong side of the post.
1-0 to West Ham, and 1-0 to Carlisle over in League 2 tonight. 5 minutes to go before half-time. Here is Todibo on halfway. Leicester pulled off a miracle 10 years ago, but this year does feel very different. Leicester City are 1 point worse off than they were at this same stage in 2015, but there were a lot more teams within their reach back then. Now there are just 4 teams below the 30-point mark. 10 years ago at the same stage there were 9 of them. Here is Bowen trying to cause them more damage. Again, Christensen reacts this time and then clears the ball. It hits Todibo in the face because El Kanu sort of ducked out of the way. And West Ham win it back again and come forward with Souček midway inside opposition territory, wide on the right hand side in that familiar claret and blue, under the floodlights at the London Stadium, the cavernous London Stadium, where there are so many wide open spaces down in front of us, and sort of platforms where the disabled supporters are stationed, but there's just huge gaps behind that which sometimes suck up the atmosphere here. The corporate boxes that look like greenhouses that are stationed just in front of this top tier that we're setting in, and then the big wide open corners where you could probably drive a bus in and out of them.
I feel a long way from the pitch. That's why I got the binoculars out.
Here is Jared Bowen trying to play it back round the corner for Scarles. It pops back into the edge of the box because Samari can't get it clear. It's bobbling around in front of the 18-yard box, but it's West Ham who win it back again. I mean, really, Leicester City are barely laying a glove on West Ham. I mean, they're just allowed to just pass the ball around in Leicester territory so easily without much intervention. Ball over the top by Cresswell, looking to try and force the issue and get it into Bowen. It just skips off the turf and goes through to Hermansen.
And it was worth the go there, even though it was a bit of a straight pass, so therefore it had to be perfect. There's no sort of diagonal on it. A good run from Bowen. You can't keep pass and not been able to break them down. But the problem is Leicester are so deep that when they do win the ball back, even Jamie Vardy is so far deep that they can't attack.
Kudus with the ball into the box. There was a bit of pushing and shoving going on. It did take a deflection, that, as Kudus tried to put it into the box. It goes behind and away for a corner kick.
Sorry, Sam, what West Ham are doing well is that when Leicester do win the ball back in their own third, they're pressing high. You know, so they're not giving them any time at all. So the ball just literally goes long and they win it back and they go again. But
I think for West Ham this is the perfect performance, Scott, because, you know, they haven't got another game now until they play next Saturday. I think it is not this Saturday coming, the Saturday after. And
is it the following Monday, is it?
Oh, sorry, the
Newcastle.
following Monday night, yeah, live on Talk Sport. It is against Newcastle. So they've got 10 days between now and the next game. But this is perfect for them because they're just putting the pressure on, getting their system honed. Here is the corner, in towards the near post. Oh, Bowen's managed to squeeze it in! Well, it's dropped inside the 6-yard box, and Bowen has turned and fired it through a crowd of players through the legs of one of the defenders and into the net. You won't get a simpler goal than that. I don't know what on earth the goalkeeper was doing there. The ball came in from the corner. It was poorly defended. It dropped inside the 6-yard box. Bowen picked it up. He was on the byline, wide of the left-hand post. There was no possible earthly reason why he should get the ball, not even across the face of goal from there, but he's got it somehow into the net from the tightest of angles, and it's 2-0.
Well, to say that Leicester give away just ridiculous goals is an absolute understatement. I mean, they're all back. The ball's come in, it's got towards the byline. Jared Bowen's there on the byline, and somehow he's put it through one of the legs. He's gone past the keeper, and then James Justin's kicked the ball into the net. It's just, I mean, that sums up Leicester City and their defence and the way they defend. Jamie Vardy feels like he can't get near it, goes through Vestergaard's legs. Hermansen doesn't get near it, and James Justin tries to kick it and kicks it into the net. Oh dear.
I mean, I've got to say, I thought Jared Bowen's feet were brilliant. Absolutely superb to keep that ball in by the touchline initially.
Yeah.
However,
Quick feet.
However, what? I mean, if you're Ruud van Nistelrooy, I mean, no wonder he's cut his hair short. He'd be tempted to just drag it out. Otherwise, it's absolutely. I mean, how can you deal with that? I mean, Vestergaard going up to Bowen at an angle which is almost impossible to put the ball in from.
Yeah.
With his legs wide open, and he's allowed to pop it through.
We saw Ruud van Nistelrooy. How does he deal with that? He doesn't. He's already said, hasn't he? He said this week, and he doubled down again when he was asked again, do you mean it? Everyone else is better than us. Mountain to climb. I mean, what do you do? I mean, I do think he can.
Well, they've lost 10 of the last 11 games. They're going to lose 11 of the last 12. Well, you can't keep lying to people and saying we've got a chance. They haven't. They've got no chance.
You can't say we've got no chance. You can't. But he's almost said that. So I think the fans realise the situation, but you have got to be careful. Otherwise, believe it or not, it can get even worse. You can lose almost every game from here on in.
Well, even if they lost every game from here on in, they still wouldn't finish lower than Southampton, would they?
No, that's true.
By the way, they're complaining, Leicester, apparently, that it wasn't a corner. I don't think it really matters whether it was a corner or not, actually. No. I mean, I think it probably was a corner, because of the way, when we were watching it, the trajectory of the ball was weird from Kudus. There's 1 minute of added time, by the way. But you've still got to defend it properly.
Well, West Ham could have complained in the FA Cup against Aston Villa that it wasn't a corner that led to the goal.
Well, that really wasn't a corner.
That really wasn't a corner.
This was a minute deflection, possibly, that actually at least went past the player. That was nowhere near anyone.
But Sam, it's basic defending. It's schoolboy stuff. You place the whistle, even if it's a bad decision. You've got a corner to deal with it, and the way they didn't deal with it.
Well, they've got a free kick now, and they're going to. I think someone is going to shoot here from just about 30 yards out. James Justin standing over it. And Leicester City have a free kick. There's a 4-man wall away to our left. We played our minute of added time, so this will be the last act of the first 45 minutes. And Anthony Taylor just lining up the wall. There's a draft excluder as well. I think that's James Ward-Prowse who's just laid down. It's going to be Justin who's going to strike it into the wall. Comes back out to Justin, he plays it left onto El Canous, and then he gets it all the way back to Hermansen. That's the end of the first 45 minutes. And the West Ham United supporters are pretty happy with what they've seen. It's been a rather easy 45 minutes for them. They turned their guns on Arsenal at the weekend, and now they're successfully hunting the Foxes. But they are easy prey, there's no doubt about that. Thomas Souček got the scoring started after a befuddlement inside the 18-yard box. There was another one not too far away, which Bowen took full advantage of, and Graham Potter's team are on the verge of back-to-back wins as a result. West Ham United 2, Leicester City 0. West Ham's last win over Leicester came here in August 2021. It finished 4-1 to the Hammers. Pablo Fornals opened the scoring before Iosi Perez was sent off. Saeed Benrahma added a second. Yuri Tillemans pulled one back. 2 late goals from Michail Antonio settled the game. Actually, it was just after Leicester City had won the FA Cup. And they are so far away from that sort of level at the moment. It is absolutely frightening. We're underway at the start of the second half. Leicester in those...
Get all the goals on your radio.
Have we got something special for you?
Setting the gold standard of out-and-out, fully combustible football commentary. Game night on TalkSport.
And cleared it to the far side. It went out and out for a throw-in over on the far side, which will be taken by Wan-Bissaka. He sends it back to half.
Saddle up this weekend for a magnificent 7 games of FA Cup football, kicking off like a randy mule from high noon this Saturday. Talk Sports Brokeback Broadcasting bandwagon careers into town with root and tune total coverage of 7 massive cup ties across the weekend.
Well, welcome back to the London Stadium. Sorry about that, we had a bit of a line drop.
Packed those supposed VIP areas are, and sometimes where people push towards the edging area where people can do the high fives and take the hugs and things like that. I just wonder if there should be a section that is purely for family and friends, where they're not being pushed against the fencing area. This is a very compact arena, one of the smallest of the roadshow, and I really like the fact that Littler was always looking down at his mum there, and as if to say, as soon as he got the thumbs up from her, his demeanour changed completely.
Well, Littler, we're told, averaging 9 points more than Bunting. That is ridiculous 3 weeks in. Well, then again, you say, well, he averaged 113.91 in week 1. He got beat 6-5 by Luke Littler. Welcome along the listeners over on TalkSport. We're live on TalkSport 2. Night 4 of the Premier League darts. West Point Arena and Exeter already through tonight. Rob Cross has beaten Michael Van Gogh in 6-5. Last leg shootout. So
and that's Mark Wilson bringing you live commentary on TalkSport 2 of the Premier League darts down in Exeter. We're back here at the London Stadium. Apologies for our technical issue. We've just had a bit of a line drop. And the ball has been sent forward by West Ham United. It's still West Ham who lead by 2-0, but still West Ham who are on the attack in claret shirts with light blue sleeves and white shorts, attacking the goal away to our left, and Leicester City in black with yellow and pink trim attacking the goal away to our right. Areola is the West Ham goalkeeper, although we haven't seen much of him, to be honest with you. Tadibo, Kilman and Cresswell the back three. Wan-Bissaka, Souček, Ward-Prowse, Alvarez and Scholes make up a 5 across the middle, with Bowen and Kudus floating around causing problems for a Leicester defence, which is in front of Hermansen, Justin Fass, Vestergaard and Christensen, Ndidi, Samare, the holders in midfield, El Canus and Buonanotte and Decordova-Reid supporting Vardy in attack. I've just seen a shot, Scott Minto, of Ruud van Nistelrooy looking down at his feet, scratching the top of his head, looking incredibly frustrated.
Yeah, and let me tell you, he did that about 5 to 10 times in the first half. It's just one of those where you know what's happening again. It's a 60,000 crowd that actually are really want to see their team sort of go for it, but understand actually we know how this story goes. And I think a lot of the fans haven't even come back from the liquid refreshment, shall we call it, in the second half, because they've just been a bit bored what they saw in the first.
Kudus picking it up just midway inside Leicester territory, just funnels it back to Cresswell. Cresswell looks up, immediately sends it square, where James Ward-Prowse has control of the ball now in front of the centre circle for West Ham United, who lead by 2-0. Tadibo out to the far side, then on to Wan-Bissaka, back to Tadibo once again. Infield it goes to Ward-Prowse, and then on to Souček, who's got his back to goal. He's being marshalled by Ndidi, but West Ham able to just push the ball around. There's no pressure on the ball from Leicester City, and even when there is, they've managed to get it out towards the right hand side. An opportunity now for Bowen to get to the edge of the penalty area. He's brought down by Ndidi. The referee says no foul. I mean, he couldn't really give a foul there because Leicester haven't touched the ball for the first 5 minutes of the second half, so he wanted to give them a chance. Here's El Canus running forward, in control of the ball, tries to pass it forward, but he can't find a black shirt, goes straight to a West Ham player, and West Ham are on the march at the other end. I mean, Jarrod Bowen a little bit upset that he didn't get a free kick for that. What did you think?
No, I mean, well, it's one of those, again, just play on. I just want to concentrate on what El Canus did there. He could have played the ball further out wide, which would have been a simple pass to Bobby Decordova-Reid, and in the end he tries to play it, tries to flip it with the outside of his boot and gives the ball away. The one half opportunity they've got on a counter-attack, they just give the ball away. It's pain. It must. I mean, being a Leicester City fan must be so painful to watch. Well, just a few years ago, you know, it's not about the Premier League or the Champions League, but see, even like being a mid-table side, and they must look at, you know, other teams like a Bournemouth, a Brighton, a Brentford. You know, they've won the Premier League. They've played in the Champions League. They've won the FA Cup. These teams haven't, and yet they're so comfortable in this division, and Leicester City aren't. Must be just horrible to watch for them.
Kilman has been penalised for a foul on Vardy. That was a little bit of experience telling there. He's got his body in between the man and the ball, and a free kick is given just short of the centre circle. 51 minutes played. It's West Ham 2, Leicester 0. Live on Talk Sport. 68% possession for West Ham United. 78 in the second half itself. And they lead by 2-0. Some great players have worn both shirts, both West Ham and Leicester jerseys. Les Ferdinand, Tony Cottee, Peter Shilton, also Paul Kitson, who is well thought of here.
Play with Kits. Great guy.
Up to Kudus. It goes all the way back through to Hermansen. Yeah, Kitson and Hartson, they got together, didn't they, and helped West Ham survive in the Premier League under Harry Redknapp.
Yeah, Hart's left just as I arrived, but Kits was still there. Yeah, really good guy. Very good centre forward.
West Ham are almost able to play without a centre forward tonight. I mean, Bowen is fulfilling that role, and Kudus is playing just in behind him, but it's been second gear stuff for West Ham United tonight. 52 minutes on the clock. West Ham 2, Leicester 0. Live on Talk Sport this evening here at the London Stadium in East London, when Buonanotte has found Fass back to Buonanotte on the near touchline for Leicester City. Leicester City struggling towards the bottom of the Premier League. They often don't come alive actually until the second half. 18 of their 25 Premier League goals have been scored in the second period. I mean, I say come alive, they sort of just flicker. This is a team that have lost 10 of the last 11 and not scored a home goal since the man landed on the moon.
Well, Fass just gave a simple ball away that went out. I mean, look, I feel for Ruud van Nistelrooy what he's watching, but he's got to be seen to be trying to do something. You know, we talked about we want to see Buonanotte in the side. He's in the side. He's not playing particularly well. He's not the only one, but there are options on the bench just to try something different, because at the moment we're just waiting for the 90 minutes to go up and seeing how many West Ham can score.
Here is Wout Fass into James Justin, trying to get the ball upfield again, but no one can reach Vardy, and it's tidied up by Cresswell and all the way back to Areola. He'll just be grateful that he's seen a little bit of action there. He's kicked the ball out towards the near side. That's his only touch of the second half. We played 8 minutes.
Well, they didn't have to pass the ball back. I just wonder if he could go off to his birthday party now.
I wonder where he's going for his birthday party. You're a West Ham legend. You could probably get us invited to that.
I know where Paul Kitson used to go back in the day.
I bet you did. Here is Wan-Bissaka over on the far side. I bet it was harder to get into than the Leicester defence. Here is Wan-Bissaka motoring into the right wing position, gets it back to Souček, and then turn back towards halfway, and Tadebo's just in front of the centre circle, out wide on the right hand side. He looks to feed the ball towards the touchline. It's taken on by Wan-Bissaka into Tadebo's now decided to go on the underlap. He moves into an advanced position. He almost tried to do a little Kudus trick there to get into the box, the big central defender. Such is the confidence in the West Ham team. They've won it back high up, and Bowen's got the ball into the penalty area. Souček gets fouled. Does he know? The referee says play on. Alvarez then squares it towards Ollie Scholes, who shoots from distance. It's a poor clearance by De Cordova-Reid. He found El Khanous. He's then fallen over. There was a handball by Ward-Prowse, which is a little bit fortunate for Leicester, who looked to escape, and it's going to be a free kick just in front of the 18-yard box away to our left-hand side. But again, just too easy for West Ham to get up to the edge of the box. And then when Leicester had turned it over and thought they'd got out of the situation, they very quickly gave it back again, Scott.
And again, I said about it in the first half, you know, it's very easy when West Ham have the ball, but what they are doing well, which is not necessarily an easy thing to do, you can easily lose concentration, is they press so well. So therefore, Leicester lacking in confidence. No one's up there because Jamie Vardy's dropped off. They end up just giving the ball away. And it's West Ham again on the ball. So, yeah, it's just... It's so comfortable. Again, we talk about it's like theatre. We know what's happening here. We know how the story goes, and we know what the ending will be.
Do you know what's great? It's great for Ollie Scholes, isn't it? You know, a graduate of the West Ham side that won the Youth Cup in 2023. only 19 years of age, his second Premier League start. This is the kind of game that can help you bed in, makes you feel like you belong at this level.
Absolutely.
Here is El Kudus with a cross into the box, which is overhit, flies past Ndidi, who is chasing into the area, and it goes behind and away for a goal kick.
Even that, there was no pressure on the ball. He's come inside and overhit the cross, and he has to make changes. I mentioned Mavididi, the Jordan Ayew, Patson Daka. Just do something different. Don't just sit there and be frustrated. Yes, it's not good enough, but be proactive.
But the body language amongst the players, the staff, the substitutes, it all looks the same. It's languid, it's downtrodden, the shoulders are slumped. They look like they're accepting of their fate, Scott, don't they?
Yes, they do. And again, Hugh, and I understand why he said it looks like they're not trying. I don't believe that's the case, but when you're so lacking in confidence, it just feels everything is so hard to do, even a 10-yard sprint.
Here is Wan-Bissaka, who's made things look easy today. He tries to win the ball round the corner. I think there was an offside flag that went up against him, and he doesn't get the corner that he thought he was going to get. He goes out for a goal kick instead, but he's enjoying his afternoon, isn't he? I mean, he's just rampaging down that right-hand side, causing problems for Christensen and Decordova-Reid.
I think he's been brilliant. I think he's arguably been, well, maybe not West Ham's best player this season.
Given away by Leicester. Onto Kudus inside the area from Ward-Prowse. He's fast that reacts quickly. And then it's given by Alvarez to the wide left and Scarles, and they're on the attack again. This was a goal kick, by the way, or a free kick for an offside by Leicester City, and they've given West Ham the ball back within 2 passes, and they're under the cosh again. To Debo, out towards Wan-Bissaka far side, trying to turn away from Christensen. Far too easily he manages to succeed in doing that, then turns it back to Souček, and then he comes across and gives it to Kilman. You're listening to Talk Sport, 2-0 to West Ham. We've played 57 minutes. West Ham fans having a great afternoon. It's that, should we get the picnic and the champagne out, just chill out? Anyone got any cigars? Crikey. It's the easiest evening that West Ham have ever had. I mean, Premier League wins. I mean, you speak to managers up and down the country, and I am lucky enough to be able to speak to quite a lot going up and down the country with Talk Sport, and they will tell you winning any Premier League game is a very, very difficult thing to do. You have to be at your very best in order to do it. I mean, this has just been a Sunday stroll in the park for West Ham.
Yeah, West Ham don't. I think that shows everything, doesn't it? That this will be the first time they have back-to-back wins in almost a year, that how difficult it is in the Premier League, but how easy Leicester are making it.
A couple of changes for Leicester City incoming in the next few moments. You're listening to West Ham 2, Leicester 0 on TalkSport with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now. Search Now Sports. Ball into the box for Vardy. He's got a touch inside the penalty area. He's taken it wide of the box and given it to Decordova-Reid. He's gone down the outside, produced a cross. It's taken a deflection. It's gone out for a Leicester City corner, and away to our right-hand side. The Leicester City fans start jumping up and down in a rather sarcastic show of appreciation.
Well, I mean, they've come for something. Fair play that they're not actually already going home.
I think they've been brilliant.
They have. And they've got to clap something, so why not clap a corner?
Exactly. That's fair play to them. I think they deserve a medal. Ball played in from the right-hand side. Kudus is... it's not a very good cross, is it? It's cut out by Todibo as the first man. Picked up by Kudus, and he tries to turn it round the corner. Back towards Todibo. Clipped out to the far side. Bowen has it pinched by Christensen. There's a foul by Kudus on Buonanotte. Going to be a free kick left side, 2 yards in from the touchline. Yeah, I think those Leicester fans deserve a little treat, bearing in mind they've travelled all the way down on a Thursday night, and they've all stayed. They've all stuck with their team, which is magnificent, really.
Absolutely, and you get that a lot with away fans as well. They've made the effort. They'll try and cheer on their side, but how can you cheer on this? A team that absolutely sleepwalking towards relegation. And you know what? We talk about the title being done. Leicester are done at the bottom. The table will make it look like they've got half a chance, but they haven't.
Here is the free kick over on the far side, and it's taken by El Kudus towards Ndidi, who heads the ball down. It's not a great header, goes straight out of play, and it's away for a goal kick. That header, by the way, went wider of the 6-yard box than it did of the goal, so it's miles away from Areola. There's the 2 changes. Off comes Decordova-Reid, off comes Samare, on comes Harry Winks, and on comes Mavididi. So 2 changes. Let's see what Steffi Mavadidi can do. The 26-year-old who was been dropped to the bench in recent times. He was brilliant for them last year, wasn't he? I mean, he really was an asset for them. Had some injuries. He actually has a brilliant journey. He started off at Arsenal, went to Juventus, then Montpellier, back in the Premier League with Leicester. Last season, he was absolutely central to what they did. Arsenal loaned him to Charlton Athletic, your old club, didn't they, for a while? And then Preston North End before he made a permanent move to Juventus in August 2018.
Not many players that can say they played for Charlton and Juventus.
Not many players that can say they've played for Charlton and Benfica. But you can. Mavadidi gets a shot away, but it comes back, hits him on the arm, and then breaks out towards the left-hand side.
But let's not criticise my beloved Charlton.
We weren't criticising them.
Absolutely.
We were saying, different people have different journeys. Champions League record holder for a while at least, Scott Minto with us in the London Stadium.
Go on, you can explain.
No. Let people Google it. It'll be much more fun if they find out on their own. Here is Todibo over on the far side. It comes off the defender, goes up for a throw-in. In by Christensen, then on to El Canoes, then all the way back to the halfway line, and then it's now with Harry Winks, who's at the base of that midfield. He plays the ball forward. Looks like West Ham are going to make 3 changes? They've obviously thought to themselves, we can do what we like here, come on, let's just rev it up a little bit, what can we do? They'll probably throw 3 forwards on.
Do you know what the mad thing is? If somehow Leicester were able to conjure up a goal, it would make things interesting, wouldn't it? But I just don't see them getting a goal if they play till midnight.
No, I mean, they've got to get over the halfway line first, which would be helpful, really. They haven't really done that much. A couple of changes. We're going to see Mavropanos. Here is Kudus going forward, trying to exchange passes with Alvarez. He gets the ball back, but then it's cleared away by Winks. And Emerson coming on. And Carlos Soler coming on. You got anything to tell us about Carlos Soler?
Yeah. Very classy guy. Spoke very well in English, which I think is his 3rd language.
Yeah. Friend of yours now? You got WhatsApp together? You're in a little group, Bowen and Soler.
I'm not like Crookie. Jumping down and asking for numbers.
He has got some groups, hasn't he, on the go. We're in about 5 of them together, aren't we? Here it is Areola.
This is one of the reasons why in Last Man Standing as well I waited and didn't pick Chelsea for Southampton. I knew that would happen, but I also knew this would happen. West Ham would beat Leicester.
Well, we're waiting for something to happen here in this second half. 63 minutes gone. It's West Ham 2, Leicester 0. And Soler, Mavropanos and Emerson about to come on for West Ham. There's so much space on this near touchline for Ollie Scholes that if he wasn't 19, he'd be going mad.
Do you know what? I just hope he doesn't come off. Emerson's getting ready to go on. This is a perfect game for him. You talk about to embed another Premier League game under his belt. He's brilliant last week, a difficult place to go. Now enjoy this one.
Alvarez speeding forward down the right side. I've been played in by Souček. His ball into the boxes towards Kudus. It just scoots past him on the edge of the 6-yard box, comes through to Scholes. Scholes back to the edge of the penalty area. Cresswell the chance to cross. It's a good one into the box. It's half-headed away by Christensen. And there was no one there at the back post to mop it up for West Ham, and Mavadidi will get it, kick it clear and get it up towards the halfway line when Todibo will deal with that. So we get the 3 changes now and we find out who is going to come off for Emerson, Mavropanos and Soler. Alvarez coming off, so Soler will take his position in the team. That's a like-for-like switch. Todibo coming off for Mavropanos, and Scholes is going to be replaced. It's going to be replaced by Emerson. What do you make of those changes, Scott Minto?
It's just a shame. We know what Emerson can do. Ollie Scholes is making himself that first choice left back or left wing back. Give him these extra minutes. So a little bit sorry to see him go off, but again, I don't know why Mavropanos is coming on as well. With the greatest of respect, I'm not sure he'll be at West Ham. He certainly won't be first choice next season. He's liable for a bit of a rick, although even against Leicester I don't see that happening. And Carlos Soler, yeah, my mate. Hope he gets a goal.
Well, I was hoping, actually, I was going to get to see Evan Ferguson tonight. I understand the Todibo one, because I think he's been sort of in and out of the team physically. Getting up to the speed of the Premier League has been a little bit difficult for him, so just protecting him, but he's done another good job, and he gets a standing ovation from the West Ham supporters behind the dugout. They've all stood up behind the dugout to applaud him.
I hear you, but this is not a Premier League game. I'm sorry, it's not.
No.
Not in terms of the physicality. This is the perfect game. This is like you mentioned it earlier, like a pre-season game or end-of-season game where it feels like almost, in certain sort of group situations where even a team can lose 2-0 and still be okay and go through to the next round.
Yeah.
That's how Leicester are playing, isn't it?
Which is unbelievable, really, because had they won tonight, they would have been within 2 points of Wolverhampton Wanderers, with the Wolverhampton Wanderers still to play at some point in the season.
And that's why, I think it's end of April, and that's why I said...
Here is Justin down the right-hand side, gets into an advanced position, crosses the ball to the far post, Mavididi coming in, but Wan-Bissaka is there, so is Mavropanos, and then Souček heads it clear, but only as far as El Khanous, who whacks it goalwards, takes a deflection, and it goes out for a corner, and there's that ripple of noise behind the goal away to our right again.
Brilliant. I mean, this is what they need to be doing, getting a little bit further forward, get balls in the box. It's good defending from Wan-Bissaka again, but they kept it in there. Now put a good ball in.
Just to see if West Ham are still concentrating. 66 minutes in, they've hardly had to do anything. The ball in towards the near post, it's flicked on, straight into the arms off Vestergaard's head of Areola, who takes it down and will walk the ball towards the edge of the penalty area. 67 gone, West Ham 2, Leicester City 0. You're listening to the programme live on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every single day. And we've got more live commentary for you tomorrow. Aston Villa against Cardiff. I think it'd be an interesting game, that. I mean, Cardiff were not great against Hull, but they got over the line, and it was a vital victory for them. At the same time, Sheffield Wednesday, Sunderland, what a game that is, by the way. Sunderland looking to try and get into the playoff positions, I think, this season.
I'm at Palace Millwall.
That's on Saturday, isn't it?
That's the game.
Yeah, Jim and you will be doing that one at 12:15.
And Izzy.
And Izzy, yeah.
Fourth time this week we're together.
You and Izzy? Well,
yeah.
She following you around?
Well, Thomas Tuchel's been following us for the last couple of games.
Has he?
Izzy? I wonder if he's here tonight.
Well, that's an exclusive that's on the way then. Scott Minto talks to Thomas Tuchel. You get the England squad early for us. It's announced on March the 14th. I wondered if he would be here tonight, actually, to watch proceedings. Then again, 15th as they will be against 19th in the Premier League. Maybe not. Here is Ndidi out towards the right-hand side, and Buonanotte. Buonanotte just moves up into the advanced position on the edge of the penalty area, out to Justin. Justin with a chance to cross. Instead he goes centrally to Winks. Winks to the far side, and Christensen, the blonde Dane, and doesn't look particularly comfortable whenever he's in position. He looks a little bit hunched over. Plays the ball into Mavididi, who tiptoes up towards the edge of the box, then chops back in right-footed, produces a really good cross to the far post, watched well by Emerson, headed away, comes back out as far as Justin. Justin strikes it right-footed, but he was trying to get it through a crowd of players. It wasn't really on. Takes a deflection and goes out for a throw on this near side, and it remains 2-0.
Well, this is better from Leicester. This is what we wanted to see, well, in the first half. Again, we talked about how West Ham at 0-0 had to be patient once they get that first goal. Confidence would drop with Leicester. That's what's happened up until the last 4 or 5 minutes, and it looks like they're showing a little bit of fight for once.
And maybe the changes have just given them a little bit of impetus with the introduction of Winks and Mavididi. We'll see what happens over the course of the next 20 minutes, and that's all that's left remaining at the London Stadium. All that's left remaining of what has been a brilliant week of live football on Talk Sport, Talk Sport 2 and Talk Radio. We brought you an amazing array of football matches, 10 live commentaries from the Premier League, some brilliant ones, and this is our 300th game of football that we brought you on the Talk Sport network this season. 300th game, quite outstanding.
And counting.
And counting, yeah. And what great end of the season we've got. Even next week is going to be absolutely brilliant. I found out today, on Tuesday night, we're bringing you live commentary of PSV Eindhoven against Arsenal. You doing that one with me?
You doing it?
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
Looking forward to it.
And do we wear the same coat again?
Here's the ball into the box from Justin over on the far side. It was headed down by Wan-Bissaka and cleared away by Mavropanos, who then outpaced Mavididi, which is a little bit of a concern, and then ran into Christensen, really clattered into him over on the far side and gave away a free kick.
I mean, they're coming even worse off, even in just little challenges. Mavropanos, why not? You're not getting there. There's a clash. I mean, Christensen, to be fair to him, is a big lad, but
I think Christensen ran into him, didn't he?
Yeah, well, they just ran into each other. Well, he's definitely a big lump, and I mean that with the greatest of respect, Mavropanos.
Evan Ferguson is about to come on for Mohamed Kudus. So we could be the ones that see his first ever West Ham goal. There you go, that's worth keeping with us for the next 20 minutes for.
Yeah, I just wonder why it's taken this long for him to come on.
Yeah, he's not started a Premier League game since Brighton's 2-2 draw with Leicester back in December. He's been on as a sub in the last 2 games. His only goal this season for Brighton came against Wolves in October. Here's the free kick for Leicester, attacking the goal away to our right. Overhit. Goes out into the left full-back position where it's mopped up by Emerson. Into Kudus, who's just about to come off and be replaced by Ferguson, the Irishman. Out wide it goes to Emerson again, a little slip by Buonanotte, and then Carlos Soler had 2 players around him, but he squeezed through a tight gap, played it into Emerson, and West Ham just playing around with it inside their own half. Got to be a little bit careful not to get too casual. Ball goes up to halfway, Vestergaard beats Bowen in the air, and then good from Emerson backing up as the ball comes into midfield, and then Ndidi manages to get it through to El Khanous. And now on the centre circle, Harry Winks engages. He moves forward and into the midpoint of the West Ham half. Worked further wide out to Mavididi. He's a box of tricks, and he's throwing his feet over the ball as he runs up to Wan-Bissaka. Produces a scoop cross to the back edge of the area. Ndidi on the volley tries to bash it goalwards, but well, he just wildly swiped at it, and it goes into the Sir Trevor Brookings stand behind the goal away to our right, and there is confirmation of the change. Mohamed Kudus, who's had a good 72 minutes or so, very good first half actually, not so much of an impact in the second, is replaced by Evan Ferguson, a 20-year-old Irishman on loan from Brighton.
Yeah, I think Kudus started the game really well, but didn't really see enough of him, and it's one of those games where if I'm an attacking player, I'm up against such a poor side as Leicester, I'd be thinking, right, let's try and get on the score sheet here, let's try and get my numbers up. And I think he'll be disappointed that he hasn't. Again, sometimes, second gear is enough against a Leicester side that's going down.
Well, Leicester's problems started in the summer. They went for Graham Potter to replace Maresca, who said they caught them on the hop with his resignation, but Potter was never sold and constantly stalling. Eventually late they appointed Steve Cooper, never really burnished him with the tools that he required, and they certainly haven't done enough for Ruud van Nistelrooy, who was promised more in the transfer window. But has he done enough with the players that he's had? That is going to be the question that I think the Leicester fans are going to be asking tonight when they leave this ground, having watched an 11th Premier League defeat in 12 matches.
Yeah, I mean, that's not good enough, and I'm sure Hugh at the end will ask me, are you sure? Are you sure that he's not going to get the sack over the next 24, 48 hours? And look, it's a valid question, and I don't think he's necessarily done enough in terms of changing things, even change of system. Not really made enough changes in terms of personnel.
Here is Jamie Vardy down the right-hand side. He just fell over. I mean, I don't know why he's holding his head and rolling around. He fell over. The ball came over his head, and he just dropped to the ground, having lost control of it. There was an assistant standing right there, witnessed it, and decided to play on. Here is James Justin on the near side. Ball's out of play, he's taken it out. It's up for a throw-in on the near side. I think Vardy, having realised that everybody had seen that, has just got back to his feet and trotted back into position.
Yeah. I think even Jamie Vardy probably looked up and thought, we're not going to make anything out of this, I'll go down. But look, I mean, you can criticise Ruud, and you can, but ultimately, and it always has been, Sam, and it always will be about the players.
Yep.
There's only so much a manager can do. You take Pep Guardiola to Accrington Stanley, he's not going to take them to the Champions League. Managers have become more and more important than ever before, but it's still always about the players, and therefore, how do you get the good players? Good recruitment. And the recruitment's been shocking, on a high wage bill, and they've just been spiralling ever since.
Well, he did his apprenticeship with the Netherlands and PSV before taking the PSV job as a full-time manager. He succeeded there, did well in interim charge at Manchester United, where he went in as an assistant. I just wonder whether or not, a promising manager who's done a good apprenticeship is going to end up being lost to the game, or certainly damaged by his experience at Leicester City. And that would be a shame, I think, because, this is an iconic figure of world football, not just the Premier League.
Well, he could turn around and say, well, I'm learning all the time, whatever happens here. But when he was caretaker charge of Manchester United, didn't he play Leicester twice?
Yeah. So you're saying those wins shouldn't count?
I'm not quite saying that, but you get my drift.
Certainly Leicester on the drift. The ball is with Mavropanos inside their own half. 15 to go. You're listening to Talk Sport. Ball up into midfield and it's taken on by Souček. Souček takes a couple of steps to the right, plays it wide onto Wan-Bissaka, a yard infield towards the right touchline. Then it goes back to James Ward-Prowse. I mean, again, at West Ham, you'd ask the question, why on earth did they let him go on loan to Nottingham Forest? James Ward-Prowse, a brilliant technician, great engine. I mean, Graham Potter's come back, called him back from Nottingham Forest and said, right, you can go straight back in the team.
Yeah, Graham Potter's, he's had a lot of injuries, and striking is a problem, and that's why he's put Bowen and Kudus up front to try and get the best out of Kudus.
Brilliant from Wan-Bissaka to get beyond Mamadidi. He now bursts into opposition territory, produces a cross, out fast with the header away. Wan-Bissaka still putting pressure on Ndidi, he's pulled his shirt, and that's going to be a free kick to Leicester City on the left edge of the penalty area. But it was real trickery and then persistence from Wan-Bissaka to get down that right touchline.
Well, he's up there for player of the season. Jared Bowen gets it for me at the moment, but the carries on like this, he is right up there in the top 3, probably top 2.
Don't you lot call it Hammer of the Year?
I don't know.
I'm sure it's Hammer of the Year at your awards ceremony.
Probably.
Good title, that. Here is... Did you ever win that?
Palo Di Canio, Mickey Carrick, Rio Ferdinand, Frank Lampard, Trevor Sinclair.
Did you come second?
Palo Di Canio.
13 minutes to go. Did win the FA Cup, Scott. Don't ever forget. Oh, yeah, no, you'll never forget it. We regularly see a picture of you. Ball is with Leicester City deep inside their own half. They're just inside their own 18-yard box, just playing it around at the moment. Taken out towards the near side, given to Wout Faes, and then travelling centrally. It's currently West Ham 2, Leicester 0. The latest odds are available from Ladbrokes. Right now you can get West Ham to win at 200 to 1 on. A Leicester win is 80 to 1. The draw is 22 to 1. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes. 18 plus begambleaware.org. There's 12 minutes to go.
I don't think I mentioned Jermaine Defoe or Joe Cole either there.
No, you didn't. No. Ball into the box is chested back by Emerson into his goalkeeper's arms. What a good side.
Yeah, and yeah, that was part of the squad, or some of those players that went down with 42 points in my last year. My first year we finished 5th. It was my highest ever Premier League finish, and West Ham's too, and it was an incredible side. And, Upton Park was a special place. Just trying to get close to it. Won't ever quite match it, but to try and keep up with the Joneses, they have to be here. 60,000 regularly. Just shows actually West Ham is a big club. And if they get it right, with the right manager, with the right recruitment, could be chasing Europe like they have done in recent times. And we'll look back at David Moyes, his era as a golden one for sure, but it just felt it was the right time to depart. I didn't understand the Lopetegui appointment. I said it at the time. I do like the Graham Potter one, I really do.
10 minutes to go. Ball being pushed around on the halfway line by Leicester City. It goes out towards Mamadidi, wide on the left. He runs into traffic in the middle of the park, has to go backwards to Harry Winks, who's on about 5 yards in front of the centre circle. Then Christensen funnels it down towards the left-hand side. At walking pace, El Khanouche just sort of moves towards the edge of the box. It goes in towards the near post, picked up by Mavropanos, and immediately he releases Bowen, who's on the counter-attack, and he's got Ferguson joining and Soler going up on the outside, and there's only 2 defenders. He gives it to Ferguson, inside the area, tries to finish it, took too many touches, and allowed Vestergaard to come across and block the effort. They've won it back again. Ferguson and James Ward-Prowse, they move it out towards the left. It goes back into Souček. What a great chance on the counter-attack for Evan Ferguson to score his first West Ham United goal. Scott Minto.
What a fantastic run from Jared Bowen. Just 60, 70 yards, making it a 2-on-2, and then it was a 3-on-2, and he could have gone to the right to Soler. He went to the left for Evan Ferguson. He sucked both the defenders in at the same time. Ferguson's basically free. A good first touch, shoot, score. It was just a little bit under his feet, which meant he had to take another touch, and in the end defender got back. But it just goes to show Evan Ferguson not quite at it at the moment. But what an opportunity that was, and I was thinking we'd be witnessing his first goal there.
Me too. I thought that was it. I mean, he had so much space inside the penalty area. Just wonder whether or not he could have hit it a little bit earlier. 10 minutes to go before the end of the game. Maybe he'll get another chance between now and then.
I think it was his first touch, just didn't lay it out enough, and that's when a player was not quite in the zone at the time. If that was Jared Bowen playing to Jared Bowen, I'm telling you, that would have been in the back of the net.
Without doubt. Mavadini coming forward down the left-hand side. He's trying to trick his way into a crossing position. He gets the ball into the box, headed away by Kilman, comes out to Wout Faes, who tries to shoot. It's blocked by Ferguson, who's 10 yards outside the box. It ricochets to the right and goes back to halfway. Again, Scott was right, by the way. He wasn't telling you little porcupines. There is 60,000 people in here. There's a few that have left now, but there is a lot of people in here tonight. The atmosphere has been largely dead, though, because there's not been much excitement. You know, West Ham have enjoyed lion's share of the possession and 61% of the ball. And when Leicester have got it, they haven't done really anything with it, to be honest with you. We've only had 4 shots on target in total. West Ham have scored 2 of them. And one of the Leicester ones came in the first few seconds of the match, and it was an easy catch for Areola from Ndidi.
I just wonder if West Ham and Graham Potter will be a little bit disappointed if they end up winning this game 2-0, that it's only 2-0. And it's almost like, right, can you step it up? Can you make it 3, 4, 5? And really send the crowd home happy and make a statement and get those back-to-back wins for the first time in almost a year. And, right, we're going to make it 3.
Here is Christensen running down the left-hand side, trying to shoot from a difficult angle. He was shown down the left-hand side by a combination of Ward-Prowse and Souček. And Mavropanos is getting a rollicking from Ward-Prowse and from Thomas Souček, saying, you were supposed to deal with that. We're just getting a replay of that Bowen run. He's run 60 yards with the ball into opposition territory. It's Solera coming up on his outside left, on his outside right, sorry. Ferguson on his outside left. He gave it to Ferguson. Ferguson just took an extra touch there, and then across came Vestergaard and blocked it. An opportunity for the young man.
If he's really on form and fully match fit, he takes the touch and bang. Or if that first touch isn't good, he cuts inside and leaves Vestergaard, who had to dive for it. And then he would have been on his right foot, right in front of goal, with no one around at all, and it definitely would have been a goal. It's just a player who's just a little bit off it, understandably so.
Ball won by Ward-Prowse in midfield. He helps it out towards the left. Collected now by Cresswell. Cresswell on towards Emerson. Emerson back to Cresswell again, who just gets it out of his feet under pressure from Buonanotte, and then there's a little bit of a tangle between Emerson and Buonanotte, but Emerson wins that duel as well. Comes up to halfway. West Ham win it back. Ferguson gets there, and now a chance to get the ball out towards... Oh, that's a poor challenge by Faes. Comes through the back of Souček. And as they were about to send the ball out to the far side where Wan-Bissaka was waiting, Faes goes through the back of him. It's going to be a free kick on halfway.
You know, we talk about how are Southampton going to get the sort of enough points to get past Derby.
Yeah.
I don't see Leicester getting many more points than Southampton from now to the end of the season. I genuinely think the way they're playing at the moment, they might not even get the 22 points that Wolves are currently on.
So what would you do? You're a Leicester owner. You're watching this. You've seen them twice in 2 weeks. I've seen them 3 times in the last 3 weeks, I think. If you go the FA Cup tie and then the game against Arsenal on this one, what you doing? Are you pulling the trigger? You're saying, sorry, Rude, it just hasn't worked out, mate. We're off. We're going down a different avenue.
First of all, you know, I need to look at the PSR. I'd have a word with my financial director and say, where are we? You know, can I have this choice if I want to have it? Or are we struggling so much with PSR? Then I'd also sit down and have a meeting with Rude and say, look, what's happening? You know, why aren't you sort of changing things a little bit more? What are you saying? Although that conversation's already been had, Sam. You know, he's come out in the press and he's basically gone just short of saying this squad is just not good enough. He said that. Everyone's better than us. We've got a mountain to climb.
But he knew that when he walked in the door, right? I mean, he'd just beaten them twice.
I don't think he quite knew they were this bad. It's not until you get up close and personal on a day-to-day basis.
Indeed, he's just given the ball away on the halfway line. He's given it away to Jared Bowen, and then Vestergaard has done it as well after winning it back, and Bowen's got it once more. I mean, they haven't had to get out of first gear tonight, West Ham United, but he's still been scurrying around, doing a captain's job at the top of the formation, Jared Bowen. He's terrific, isn't he?
He's brilliant. He's brilliant. Absolutely leads by example. And again, he's one of those where, like Jamie Vardy, have come from the non-league and have never lost that kind of feeling of how lucky they are as they go up the levels. Never lose that motivation.
Patson Daka's going to come on with 4 minutes to go. Luke Thomas as well for Ruud van Nistelrooy. Here is Mamadidi on the break for Leicester, down the left side, tries to get into the box, he pokes it towards Vardy, cut out by the West Ham defence. Soler skips his way forward, and then James Ward-Prowse drags them out from the back, does brilliantly to relieve a little bit of pressure, gives it to Wan-Bissaka, he turns, it's under pressure from Mamadidi, but the ball will go behind and away for a goal kick off Jamie Vardy, and then we'll get the substitution now. What represents success for West Ham now between now and the end of the season? Because they were promised a lot when they moved from Upton Park to the Olympic Park. They finished 9th last season, which was progress on the year before when they'd won a trophy actually for the first time since 1980. But the key thing for me, Scott, was the sort of realisation that I had when I was preparing for this game, that this was their 13th successive Premier League season. And that is the club's second longest run in the top division since 1958 to 1978. It's not a club that has always been in the top flight.
No, it hasn't. And as much as it's had iconic players, as a team, I think third is the highest, the mid-80s with Tony Cottee, Frank McAvenny up front. We finished fifth with Paolo Di Canio. It's not, but the West Ham fans get it. They don't think necessarily they should be in the Champions League, but what they want is their team to give it their all. They want a sprinkle of magic. They want to see some of their youth come through the academy into the first team. And they were, I remember playing at Upton Park, and sometimes we'd win 4-3 and would lose 3-2, and we get clapped off both times because we gave it their all. They were entertained. Obviously, you wouldn't want to keep on losing all the time, and they'd certainly let you know. But what is success? I mean, I'm looking at the table in terms of position. I can't see them getting into the top half, with Aston Villa being on 42 points and West Ham now 33, albeit Aston Villa playing a game more. I think what it is about building for next season. And I think the recruitment again is going to be so important. Mikel Antonio, we don't know if he's ever going to play again, let alone for West Ham. He's at the age he's at, his contract's up. We've got Nicholas Füllkrug, who we just haven't seen him all season. And there's no doubt about it, a striker is what they need. They need a centre-half, maybe two. One to go alongside Max Kilman, then another one that can step in at any given time.
Ball given away by Justin. They've gone to a two-man defence now, I think, Leicester City. They've taken off Christensen and Vestergaard and brought on Thomas and Daka. They've given the ball away cheaply. Ferguson's just brushed off the ball a little bit too easily, and Leicester have turned it over again. Andy Irving about to come on. The ball into the box and away by Mavropanos. Out towards the Kilman. Out towards the near side and Ndidi. Back to Ndidi again. 90 seconds to go before the end of the game. Ndidi's cross is a deep one, which is headed away by Wan-Bissaka. Luke Thomas gets hold of it, edge of the penalty area. Back into the box it goes. Good defending by Kilman, who followed that in and managed to clip it clear with the back of his head ahead of Jamie Vardy. And then it comes out to Emerson on this near touchline. He's crunched by Vardy, and the ball goes out for a goal kick away to our right-hand side.
What's going to happen to Jamie Vardy when Leicester go down?
Well, that's a good question, isn't it? What do you do with him? Because he's still an asset, and again, it depends on what you're going to do next season, doesn't it? How are you going to handle it? Thomas Souček comes off, and off comes Andy Irving. And another change for West Ham United, who have had it very easy tonight here at the London Stadium, which is almost, two-thirds empty now. They're off to get their trains on the old Jubilee line, the Javelin train back to King's Cross, possibly even the Elizabeth. I came on the Elizabeth line today.
Did you?
From Liverpool Street. It only took about 11 minutes. It was brilliant.
I did Jubilee line from London Bridge.
Oh, did you? That's a little bit longer, that one.
A little bit.
Yeah, but it's some good transport links down here into Stratford. Obviously, the idea was to do it for the Olympic Games. So the Elizabeth line took a little bit longer than maybe everyone was expecting, but it's very well connected now. 3 minutes of added time at the end of what has been a difficult game for Leicester City. It's been a very easy game for the home team, who have the ball again on the left-hand side. Emerson with a cross into the box. It's just over the head of Evan Ferguson and into the arms of Hermansen.
Did you just say Leicester have had a difficult game?
Yes, was that a little bit generous?
You're a nice guy, Sam. Honestly, I don't really know what more to say apart from the fact that I'm just watching a team that are done. They're going down. I repeat, I don't think they'll get more than 22 points.
Well, things must be looking up for West Ham. They're even beating Leicester. That doesn't actually happen for them very often. They're one of their bogey teams, but they are going to go above Everton with a win into 15th position. And they've got the ball on the right-hand side with Wan-Bissaka, who's crossed into the box. Actually wasn't good this time. He hits it against Fass and it's out for a corner, and they're looking for another goal. This is only the second time in 23 Premier League home games that West Ham have kept a clean sheet. That's how bad Leicester are.
I mean, that is a positive, but I genuinely think this is not a great scoreline for West Ham. I mean, look, a win's a win. Keep a clean sheet, great. First back-to-back victories for nearly a year, but this is such a poor Leicester side. I'll be thinking this should be a 4, at least.
Here's the corner, over on the far side. Whipped in by Cresswell, left-footed, right under the goalkeeper, and it's first contact by a Leicester player. I think, does it go out for a goal kick, that? I'll tell you what, Mavropanos is a bit furious because he thinks that it was Wout Fass who connected with it last. It goes out for, he thought, was going to be a corner kick. It's actually a goal kick away to our left. We've only got 60 seconds remaining at the end of the 90 minutes. The 90 minutes in which West Ham have hardly broke sweat. I would be very surprised if Alphonse Areola even dares turn the shower on.
He wanted to put his party gear on, surely, for his birthday party.
Absolutely, sorry, I did forget it was birthday day today, so he'll get the old creed on. Here is Mavididi with a cross into the box late on, away by Kilman.
He's done well, Mavididi.
Yeah, he's done all right, actually, since he's come on, which is good. He's been a bit brighter.
He's been their best player.
Positive. They needed it, didn't they?
Well, absolutely, and he came on the hour mark. He did more in 10 minutes than any of the forward. I'll take Jamie Vardy out of the equation because he's playing that difficult lone striker's role, especially when you're playing in such a poor side. But in terms of the all three attacking midfielders, Stefan Mavididi has done more in 10 minutes than they did combined.
Bowen over on the right, combining with Ferguson, tricking his way past Leicester players, nudging them off the ball. The referee calls it a day. Leicester's Foxes used to be called fearless, now they are forlorn. The chances of them escaping the drop the Championship has narrowed after a 14th defeat in 19 Premier League games. Ruud van Nistelrooy has failed to revive Leicester. They will not be a Premier League team for much longer. Their plight has been compounded by muddled thinking from above and a disenfranchised fan base who, in fairness to them, stuck with their team throughout the course of what was a terrible, rather abysmal 90 minutes of football from their perspective. West Ham know what that feels like, but under Graham Potter things are certainly looking up. It's back-to-back victories in the Premier League for West Ham United for the first time in a year, and they didn't even have to work very hard for it. West Ham 2, Leicester 0.